So, I found an ISO for Azure HCI and I thought I would fire it up and take a look. And I have to concede that in all the blurb around Azure HCI, I'd spent a lot of time kind of thinking, well, what the hell is it? And although people said it's this, it's that, it didn't make much sense to me. So I've spun it up. I've decided to take a look at it. And in some ways I wish I hadn't bothered. But so it's up and running. And this is not what you get in Azure HCX. You're meant to manage it via Windows Admin Center, which gives you this. I guess that you can reach in on the, various areas where you could run scripts through this. And if you're an Azure lover and you like Azure things, then I guess it can be managed and run through Azure. But from an older standpoint, firing it up blankly and having a play with it, not enjoy it. It reminded me so much of going back to Hyper-V in 2008. So this won't talk to it because it's non-domain and you'd have to do a bunch of plumbing work to get it to work. You just get a whole bunch of problems when you try and connect to the Hyper-V manager on the box. So for a hyper-converged, I laughably saw some Microsoft people saying how simple it was. But anyway, it said originally that Windows Subsystem for Linux was installed. It didn't work when I played with it, so I uninstalled it, reinstalled it, and yeah. I'm not sure how that's meant to work or why it's a feature when it, there's no Windows Store, so yeah, I imagine there's no end of brokenness. What you get when you start this, none of this retrofitted stuff that I've done here is on this by native. Let's do sconfig here. When you start this, you're presented with that. A blank desktop, a command window, and set some things up, and then you're left with PowerShell if you go to 15. So, fine. That's what you get. Now, but as per I did with Hyper-V back in the day, where if it's off domain, it's pain and various things, I kind of put together a toolkit. There used to be a toolkit, and I may get the name wrong now. I think it was Core Config, Core Configurator 2. There's various tools. I found something. Where are you? I mean, it's all dying now. No one's really interested in it. There we are. So this is not the same as I did in the past, but it's similar. So it gives you the ability to look up or change a few things. And I was having a chat with someone, and I'm going to post the video back to them about user interfaces, and his view is user interfaces are hard, and all of this, or many things, perhaps should be done in an old school way. And my view is no. No, I don't agree. But anyway, so these tools used to let you take a Hyper-V box and actually, workably change a few things so you could get it onto your feet. Because sconfig, I'm sure sconfig might have changed somewhat, but it was the same on Hyper-V. It would let you change a very minimalistic amount of stuff, and then you're really on your own. So on this box, you get sconfig, and I just set up a share basically. And once I did the share, I looked around to see what I could constitute to get up and running. So within that bounds, did I not set? That's interesting. Where was I? Oh yeah. So basically, I set up a few things in the share. I dragged across a few uh, tools that might be viable. Rocket Dock is for the dock. Explorer Plus Plus is for the the Explorer replacement. Um, Sci menu is from Nursoft, so it'll work as a very rough start menu replacement tool. And a lot of stuff is broke. This has no sound on it, and a lot of the desktop tooling's been removed. So I don't expect anything beyond very basic stuff to work. But oddly enough, I've out of a user system that was not meant to have a desktop, I've hacked together something that would work enough that I've got PuTTY and um, WinSCP and PowerShell and so on. But it's going back to Azure HCI. No, it's going to be deleted, I think. I can't even see that it's useful. Obviously, the Windows share was easy enough to set up, but what small NAS or Linux box can't set up a share? What's the point of it for me? I'm not going to tie into Azure. I'm not going to mess around with that. So on a personal level, what's the point? Even on the Windows side, you can't run a domain controller on here or anything. Not that you probably would today, but yeah, yeah, a lot of pain from what I saw. It's not meant to have a desktop. I just do that so that I can make it usable, and it's not even really usable comparatively to much else. It's got horrible Hyper-V issues. And I suppose that if you have the right tooling, but I couldn't really even see how you could manage Hyper-V from the Windows Admin Center, really. And I just could not understand, for example, on a cut-down product. Okay, so you cut it down and you include the Windows subsystem for Linux, right? It's a feature. But it's completely broken. I've uninstalled it, put it back on, did some testing. Why is it even here? I mean, if you're going to do a strip-down thing, why bother? So I've installed Hyper-V, but it's really can't be managed as far as I can see. I suspect that if this was a domain machine rather than a work group machine and so on, that you could fettle it, and if you had a domain controller and other stuff, do it from Azure perhaps. But I hadn't looked at scheduled tasks actually. And this is the other thing, agonizing. This is on the same LAN, gigabit networking, and not exactly quick, to be honest. Just the crap that I've installed to get a basic thing running. But anyway, the initial toying with Azure HCI on this Saturday, no, no, not very friendly. Don't really like it. It's got a lot that reminds me of the pain I had with Hyper-V in 2008. And I'm sure there will be people who think, oh, you just manage it through PowerShell. Yeah, okay. All right.